Simone's great-grandfather used to say that there was a special kind of magic to be found in a place where heaven meets clear water. That place is indeed the mountain of Rosewood. Fortunately, before Simone set out to find this magical place, her great-grandmother pointed out the real source of the magic. It was rooted in simply finding love, happiness, and contentment. But she will never forget the real reason why her great-grandparents opened up their home for events. It was to share the magic of this place. However, she couldn't have kept the town of Rosewood going for all these years and managed it all by herself. It was Gabrielle who stayed by her side, as her co-pilot in keeping the magic alive at Rosewood. Needless to say, she's quite devastated now that he's leaving, even though they've grown old in this town. But he has to leave nevertheless, because his family is moving. Simone still feels like she won't be able to run this place without his help. So she's considering letting go of all the traditions and festivities they've kept up throughout all these years. Gabrielle suggests an alternative approach of keeping going, and enlisting Jared to help her. Simone finds it unfair for her to ask Jared to take time away from his job. That's when Gabrielle points out that Simone is like family to everyone in this town, especially Jared. Simone grows to like this idea, now that she will be able to spend some time with Jared before this town becomes long-lost history. Gabrielle is equally pleased and proud to see that his son will finally step in to fill his shoes and help out Simone in his father's absence. Hazel compliments the musicians once they're done playing at the wedding she planned under her boss's supervision. She's elegant, charming, and graceful in her dealings with people. Her dazzling smile is just as beautiful as the wedding she put up, which Simone witnessed as she was talking to Gabrielle in the same park. Hazel looks up to watch Simone greet people at the wedding with a warm smile on her face. Hazel's boss, Raymond, is on the phone when Hazel approaches him. She briefs him on all the tasks she did successfully without his help. She basically has done all the work herself, and all that's left to do for him is to clear everyone's payments. Raymond appreciates her hard work and expresses how much he values her as an employee. He even conveys Simone's compliments to Hazel, as she claims that it was one of the prettiest weddings they've had here in years. Yet he takes most of the credit, claiming that it was good to have him in charge, when it's very clear that Hazel did all the work. He leaves to head into town for some personal business, assigning Hazel to finish up everything. They recall their motto of not leaving behind tire marks in the driveway, because a good event leaves no traces behind. Jared buys some flowers while talking on the phone with his clients, who are eager to get the financial plans Jared came up with. He thanks the flower seller before returning to his car and driving to Rosewood. He calls Simone on the way to inform her that he's left the city and will arrive in Rosewood around the evening. Hazel is finally done with the event and is driving back home. She's leaving a voicemail to Lindsay, apologizing for not giving her enough time because of the wedding planning. She promises to make plans with her soon. However, she's interrupted by Jared's car facing her in the middle of the road. She can't reverse her car, so he drives by her, getting off the road for a while, which leaves tire marks on the grass. Hazel groans in frustration as Jared continues driving toward Rosewood. Simone welcomes him at the door, making him excited to have his favorite apple turnovers. He gives her the flowers he bought and sits down at the dinner table. They laugh about how many professions he has switched over the last few years, before getting down to business. Jared is here to help her shut everything up and sell out the Rosewood Inn. But he's shocked that it's being sold, because he's aware that this place has been in Simone's family for 4 generations. The truth is that all the maintenance and repairs are becoming overwhelming for her. Luckily for her, Jared's analysis of her finances has revealed that she'll make more money by reinvesting her profits from the sale than what she's earning now from the inn. Jared inquires if Simone's sister is fine with selling, and she responds that she'll handle this matter because her sister has no interest in Rosewood whatsoever. Jared's research has led him to a woman named Erin, who specializes in resort sales. So if Simone is up to it, they can have a meeting with Erin tomorrow. Simone is impressed to see how fast Jared works, but doesn't want to talk shop anymore. So she redirects his attention to the delicious apple turnovers. It's a new morning, and Hazel walks up to a beautiful house with some coffee in her hand. She is surprised to see that her sister Lindsay and her fiancé Joe are already waiting for her. She apologizes to them for running late, but they're very nice about it. Joe teases the sisters about their magazine collections before they begin planning for their wedding. The couple is going with 2 separate officiants. There is going to be a rabbi from Joe's side, and Lindsay's father is already in talks with a new minister, who has impressed everyone since she came to town. Lindsay is so involved in all this that she's considering giving up corporate law and dedicating her career to a magazine that covers interfaith weddings. She wants everyone to be happy, but has little guidance in this regard, as none of her wedding magazines talk about such issues. Hazel reminds her that she can't go wrong with any of her choices, as long as respect is the foundation. She even quotes one of their mother's favorite sayings, "Love is the bridge," which comforts Lindsay. Bringing up their mom opens the waterworks for Lindsay, and Hazel assures her that she would have been very happy for her. Hazel lightens the mood with one of her good-natured jokes. She talks about how excited their mom would be to see that Lindsay is getting married in the same venue where her parents got married. She tells Joe that she made this decision when she was just 8 years old. Exactly 20 years later, she made another decision to ask Joe out, which led to all this. He comforts Lindsay about her mother's absence, and she feels more in love with him than ever. Hazel nudges them to get back to the wedding planning. Lindsay asks Hazel if she got her boss's permission to take on the dual role of maid of honor and lead planner at the wedding. Hazel hasn't done it yet, and Lindsay talks her into it, reiterating that she's been doing it all anyway without the title or the recognition. Hazel puts it off by saying that there'll be another better time to ask, and for now she just wants to be completely there for her sister. Lindsay tries to convince her that she can't keep putting everyone else before herself. She's been doing it since their mom passed away. These words get to Hazel a little bit, and she decides to talk to Raymond soon. Jared and Simone are at their meeting with Erin, who is walking through the inn to inspect it for herself. She sees this as a perfect opportunity, as everything has been lining up perfectly regarding this sale. Some of Erin's clients are even so keen to get their hands on the beautiful Rosewood that she already made them an offer. Simone is surprised that people are putting up offers without visiting the inn. This is when Erin clarifies that the clients came here years ago for an event. They're paying more than what Simone expected, and immediately want to move in. Simone and Jared feel optimistic about all this, until Simone asks about the buyer's family. Erin reveals that this place will be bought and used as a vacation home. If Simone says yes, the sale will be made until the start of July, which is quite soon. Simone has her cabin further up the lake that she used as an art studio. She can now live there with her canvases, if she agrees to the sale. Erin requests them to make their decision soon and leaves. Once Erin is gone, both Simone and Jared can't deny how quickly all of this is happening. Jared shares his perspective that this offer shouldn't be passed up on, and Simone also wants another family to enjoy and love this place like she and her family did. So she makes up her mind about selling one of her most prized possessions. Hazel and Lindsay are jogging in the park, joking about their father's attempts to be actively involved in the wedding. Hazel switches the topic to this strenuous workout that she never wants to do again. But Lindsay expects her sister to power through the workout with her every morning. She really wants to take a picture of them together, despite Hazel's refusals. Lindsay points out that she's Hazel's client, after which she can no longer argue. Their moment of taking a selfie together is ruined when they get an email from the Rosewood Inn. It says that their reserve date is canceled, due to the property being sold, and that the inn can only have events until June. Lindsay's heart breaks, and Hazel makes a promise to her to find a solution. In fact, they'll go to the inn today as she somewhat knows the owner. When they get there, Lindsay waits in the lobby before telling Hazel that she'll take any date available, because she's adamant about getting married here. This leaves Hazel to go inside and do her thing. Jared is on the phone, dealing with upset customers and promising them full refunds, when there's a knock at the door. He answers it to see Hazel and lets her in. She can hear him talking on the phone, denying people dates for their events, because the venue is already booked. When he hangs up, he discloses that Simone isn't there, so Hazel gets to talking to him. She's equally courteous and assertive. Jared introduces himself to her, as he'll be helping her for now. He realizes that she doesn't want a refund, but another date which he can't give her because all the days in June are booked. Hazel argues that there are no other options in town to get married, and they engage in a conversation that Simone overhears as she approaches them. Hazel discusses her and Lindsay's emotional attachment to this place. This catches Simone's attention, and she joins them. She apologizes to Hazel for the inconvenience and informs Hazel that Jared is Gabriel's son. This eases her up, as she has worked with Gabriel in the last few years. Simone agrees with Jared's concerns, but still decides to accommodate Hazel and make this happen. So now Hazel has a wedding to plan within 3 weeks. She prepares her pitch to Raymond for a promotion as she walks inside the office of Parker Events with coffee in her hand. There's a thank you package waiting at her desk from happy clients. She runs into Raymond, who already knows about her arrangement with Simone. Not only did Simone agree to have Lindsay's wedding, but she also hired Parker Events to help with the rest of the events in June. What Hazel doesn't know is that Simone specifically requested for her to be on site with all this. While she's flattered to hear this, she's also concerned about how her company will manage with all the other events scheduled in June. This is when Raymond takes her by surprise by declaring that he brought in a new event planner called George on board. George pitched himself to Raymond and got himself the position Hazel had been hoping to get all this time. Lindsay is outraged to hear about this while they're trying on dresses for the wedding. She suggests Hazel switch jobs at a place where she is actually more valued than this. Lindsay wants Hazel to demand her title as an event planner, but she changes the subject. She loves the bridesmaid dress. Hazel learns from Lindsay that she really wants to wear their mom's wedding dress, if Hazel has no objection to it. Hazel agrees, despite being the elder sister, and they hug lovingly. Simone goes through old photographs of fond memories when she instructs Jared to get all necessary repairs done on the property before selling. Jared plans to do all those tasks himself to get it right. Simone shows him pictures of her and her sister, and admits that she hasn't talked to her in a long time. Simone and Jared show Hazel around the estate. Hazel and Jared will need to compare their schedules to make sure that none of the repair or inspection activities happen during the wedding. Simone leads Hazel to her office before subtly commending Jared for charming Hazel. Soon after, Jared starts working on the lawn, and Hazel finds herself getting disrupted by all the noise. She can't do any of her work anyway, so she volunteers to assist Simone with sorting her old pictures. Regardless of the commotion, she finds Jared's gesture of helping Simone like this to be really sweet. She assumes that they must be really close. Simone recalls knowing Jared since he was a little boy. He got braces when he was 13, which made him look really cute. Simone even shows Hazel a photograph from that time, when Jared used to spend all his summers playing at Rosewood, while Gabriel did his job as property manager. Simone tears up while thinking of all these fuzzy memories, and doubts whether she did the right thing by agreeing to sell the inn without her sister's approval. Simone and her sister have never seen eye to eye on anything Rosewood related, and haven't spoken in 15 years. Hazel sums up some of her work before sitting with Jared. She doesn't talk much about her growing pains at the office and wants to begin working on their calendars. Everything is fine, except for the fact that Jared has a fertilizer delivery arriving on the day of the event. Jared moves the delivery date while Hazel steals shy glances at his handsome face. Hazel mentions how the noise from his repairs is the bane of his existence, and he chuckles lightly. They're both done with the meeting, but can't seem to take their eyes off of each other or get away from the bench they're sitting on together. She seeks his help in driving a truck across the property because she doesn't know how to drive a stick. Jared is not so good at it himself, but manages to get the job done anyway. Hazel is curious about why Jared is doing so much work on the property if there's already an offer. He answers that it's Simone's wish, and Hazel guesses that this must be part of her process. She can understand how hard this must be on everyone, but Jared surprises her by declaring that he doesn't really get attached to things. He lets himself get attached to people, but doesn't do attachments with places or jobs. While Hazel finds this approach very straightforward, she also suspects that he hasn't found something worthy enough to care about. With his gaze lingering on her, Jared finds himself agreeing. Hazel informs Joe that she's set up the chuppah for the wedding and demands his guest list in return. However, he's still waiting to hear back from friends from Connecticut. The wedding might be more intimate now, and Hazel can adjust to that. Lindsay also arrives and notifies Hazel that their dad will meet them with the dress at her place tomorrow. The sisters hope that the dress is in good shape, because it's too late to find Lindsay a new dress at this stage. Lindsay teaches Hazel that she can't do everything for everyone when she catches her texting with George, in a desperate attempt to answer his endless questions. The shop clerk for their cake tasting greets them and sits them down. But there's a little setback, as the cake shop got their dates mixed up, reserving June 26th of the next year. This is worrying for the couple, because this place is booked 6 months in advance. The shop clerk rushes to sort things out with her manager and apologizes for the mix-up, but can't help them except for letting them have all the cake prepared for the tasting. Hazel is overlooking the setup for a wedding the next day when she observes Simone walking around in the gloom. She later seeks Simone's permission to use the rose garden, now that the reception is going to be much smaller. Simone explains that the rose garden needs a lot of work done. Hazel has the solution for that as well. Her dad, who is a contractor, can do the repairs for free. Simone agrees reluctantly, and Hazel expresses her gratitude and desire to make her sister very happy. Simone notices how close Hazel and her sister are, and learns that sometimes the anticipation of talking is the hardest part. Soon after, Simone's sister Faye gets a call from Simone, but Faye shuts her down and hangs up on her, due to some built-up resentment. Hazel meets up with her father, Don, and Lindsay at her house. Hazel silently signals Don to not mention her stresses to Lindsay. Don also found his wedding album with the dress. While Lindsay and Hazel leave the room to check the dress out, Don sees old pictures of his wife on her wedding day. Don gets really emotional when he sees Lindsay in that dress. Once Lindsay is gone, Hazel checks in on Don, who really misses his wife. He doesn't know what to say at Lindsay's wedding, like their mother would have. He also apologizes for letting all the responsibility fall on Hazel when she lost her mom as a kid. She insists that they should focus on the positive things, because it's a good day for their family. When Lindsay returns after changing, Don walks away with her to raise a toast to his lovely daughters. Meanwhile, Hazel picks up an old photograph of her mother and holds back her tears. Simone and Jared discuss the rose path, which used to be the highlight of the rose garden. Jared helped Gabriel plan it as a kid. Simone wants Jared to plan it again, and spend as much time with Hazel as possible. He doesn't protest, but for now, he wants to know about what happened with Faye. Jared offers to talk to Faye on Simone's behalf, to which she ultimately agrees. Hazel goes on about how much love and work is needed for the rose garden. Jared is willing to work on it himself, and Hazel is quite impressed with his multi-talented personality. He did enjoy woodwork a lot, but it was more of a hobby. He's going to get started on her list as soon as he's done with Faye. But hearing his plan to have a conversation with her concerns Hazel, so they head out to meet Faye together. Faye gingerly lets them in and remembers Gabrielle from her past. She believes that Simone is selfish in her motives, to call her and send Jared her way. She sends them away because she considers this a family matter that Simone should resolve herself. Jared and Hazel are still together when Raymond calls Hazel, asking for a last-minute favor. This is because George messed up, so Jared and Hazel take a detour. When they get there, Raymond dumps the whole mess on Hazel, and she lets him walk all over her. She later rants about her workplace frustration to Jared while arranging flowers. He empathizes with her, but pushes her to take credit for her efforts. Simone finally gets a call from Faye, and they make plans to meet by the lake Faye always loved. Earlier that morning, Jared and Simone meet the condescending soon-to-be owners of the Rosewood. Simone's spirits dampen when she hears their plans about what to do with the place. It sounds like they'll strip Rosewood of all its charm and magic. Simone later gets into it with Faye, who voices her complaints about Simone always turning down her suggestions for Rosewood. She still doubts Simone's intentions, until Simone reasons with her. She gives Faye their mother's old hat box, filled with memorabilia from their childhood. Simone prioritizes Faye's wishes this time. Hazel and Lindsay are done with most of the prep. Hazel gets a text from Jared, and heads to the Nook to help him out. But a meticulously planned romantic surprise awaits her. He wanted Hazel to have her own moment at Rosewood, which is the first nice thing anyone has ever done for Hazel in a long time. She talks to him in such a way that he seamlessly opens up to her about his sentiments. No matter how much he denied it, this place means a lot to him, and he hopes that the new owners don't change it too much. They both don't want Rosewood to lose its essence. Jared doesn't want her to worry about this, but she's used to worrying about people. Yet he wants her to put herself first for once. This moment is elevated by a shooting star, and the pair gazing into each other's eyes with adoration. The next day, Hazel's family works the venue together and tease her about Jared's gesture. Jared contacts Aaron to find out about the buyer's plans, when Simone breaks the news that Faye has agreed to sell. Hazel finally gets the guts to confront Raymond about getting promoted, but he insinuates that it'll happen eventually, just not now. Jared encourages her to take a stand for herself. He is willing to help her with her resignation, but she doesn't do so well with getting unattached. She feels strange about being cold to him, and returns to the wedding preparations. Jared has drawn up the contract for the sale, but is putting off getting it signed by Simone. He finally comes clean about how 4 generations is a really long time to sell an asset. He wants to keep the inn in their family. Simone appreciates his efforts, but she has already made her peace with it. She finally reconciles with Faye for good. Jared, who has been eyeing Hazel all along, takes some time to think. Dawn finally gets inspired by all the love to say some words at Lindsay's wedding. On the wedding day, Hazel turns in her resignation to Raymond face to face. Jared sits down with Faye, who is also equally saddened to let this place go. Dawn delivers a heartwarming speech at the wedding before Lindsay and Joe get hitched. Simone and Faye are now equal partner owners of Rosewood, which means they won't need to sell. They also hired Jared and Hazel to run the place together. Hazel already has a new job, and Jared has found the perfect place to land after so many attempts. Jared and Hazel hold each other's hands, feeling the magic that surrounds them. This heartfelt moment is sealed with a kiss as they head to the dance floor, hand in hand.